Welcome back to In the Breakroom with TWU Local 555. The podcast is back and we are in Las Vegas on the road celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I'm joined by Larry Fisher. Larry's a ramp agent here in Las Vegas. Larry, thank you so much for coming in the Breakroom.
Thanks for having me.
Pacific Islander, correct? That's
Yes,
why I'm
sir.
here.
I'm from Hawaii.
And all the way here in Las Vegas. How long have you been here in Las Vegas?
About 30 years.
Is there a big Pacific Island population here in Las Vegas?
It's huge. Matter of fact, Las Vegas is now coined the ninth island.
The ninth island?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? I mean, you're going from the middle of the ocean right to the desert.
Because of a lot of transplants, people moving here from Hawaii. So Vegas is probably the most popular destination.
Does that make it easier when people move from a place that's like in the middle of the ocean? Talk about that.
Yeah. When I first moved here, there was barely anyone from Hawaii, very little. So you pretty much go to where people of like-minded or, culturally, they share the same food, same ideas, the family atmosphere. So once they get comfortable and word gets out, then more of the family and friends starts to make that voyage across the ocean.
Yeah, you kind of get like a built-in family as time goes on.
Yeah.
What are some of the traits that you brought from Hawaii that when you first moved to Las Vegas? Some of the cultural traits that you tried to bring here that you wanted to see, in your station when you were working here?
Along with other agents from Hawaii, we share the mentality, the camaraderie, the love of food, brotherhood, helping each other out,
right,
to find that comfort zone inside of work. And then, of course, outside of work, it's bringing our families together, the wives and kids, and, become more of a family than just friends,
So bringing that island spirit to the mainland, that aloha spirit.
Yes.
Can you talk about that island pride?
That's a tough one.
Is it?
Yeah. Without sounding arrogant, because of the values, the family values and morals and stuff. I'm not saying that other cultures don't share that, but ours is unique because, back in the old days, in the islands, no one was homeless, no one went hungry. You always had a place to lay your head or food to eat, brotherhood or family-oriented, folks that you can share with. Out here, you feel alone when you don't have people of like mind or people from the same place. But you can share that same feeling here for those folks that feel lost, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I've noticed I live in the Pacific Northwest, and there's a strong Pacific Islander population up there. But in talking to people and in my travels around the system, it's not just a West Coast thing. It's just not just a Las Vegas thing. You can go to any station around the system, and you're going to find our brothers from, the middle of the Pacific.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And do you think that's just, in search of feeling that same camaraderie and then wanting to
that's part of
expand on it?
I think the first wave of transplants would have gone to the far west, the West Coast, right? California, Seattle. And then they migrated to Vegas, which would be more than likely the second generation. Second and third and fourth generations, you'll find them further east, like, Texas and Missouri and, states like that. So in search of the same thing, no, they're bringing that with them, with the migration. Let's take Texas, for instance. A lot of folks move out there for football because Texas is a big football state.
Right.
And, they want their kids to actually do well in sports. And so Texas is a state of choice. Religion-wise, you could go to Salt Lake City and Kansas City, St. Louis, anywhere in Missouri for religion purposes. It's all kind of reasons people will move. But if they move with that cultural aspect, with that feeling of being at home, then we're good,
Well, I mean, thank you for bringing those ethics, those morals, that culture to the mainland. Thanks for being part of that. Because like you mentioned, there's a family aspect to it. There's a camaraderie, a brotherhood. And we'll get to brotherhood in a second. But real quick, I wanted to touch base on something. You opened up Honolulu, correct?
Yes, I did.
When was that?
2019, I believe.
And can you talk a little bit about that experience?
That was an awesome experience. I got to marshal in the first plane.
Yeah.
The best part for me is when we hired the first wave locally, to see, I see my people being hired out here, but to see them being hired in the islands was a different feeling, to see my people get into a job that I've been with for a long time. And then we brought that feeling, right? That aloha spirit that we talk about, because they live that there. It's everyday thing. Actually, sometimes we take it for granted. And that's why when you move away, you miss that feeling unless they keep it alive out here. But
sounds like you're keeping it alive out here.
I'm trying. I'm not the only one. Everyone's trying, but the migration and, with all the different distractions, it's easily lost, so it's up to the older guys to hold it down and remind our young ones that you still a islander, carry yourself, as such. But opening Honolulu was great. I loved it. Yeah.
I want to touch on something that we mentioned just a minute ago, and that was brotherhood on a smaller scale. Because, like I mentioned, at the end of the day, this is a job. This isn't our culture. This isn't our blood. This is just a job. But can you kind of see the similarities in being part of a culture that's not necessarily from one area, moving to another area, and that brotherhood, that fraternalization that we have as being part of a union?
What makes it easy for us is we were raised that way, with that mentality,
right?
Where I got your back, you got mine. And sometimes when you move into an area where you're working with different folks from different walks of life, they don't share the same ideas. So if I don't get it from you, then you won't get it from me. So either I have to step up and show you that love and expect that back, or I just walk away and we're just coworkers. We're not brotherhoods.
Because hopefully it's infectious. If you push it on somebody, you're going to push people away a little bit.
Yeah.
But as far as what you mentioned, that camaraderie, that we stick up for each other, families have fights, but at the end of the day, we stick up for each other. I think having that Pacific Islander mentality and bringing that into the local is definitely a good thing.
Absolutely.
Well, Larry, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me.
Thanks,
it's so good to hear about, your experience, your lived experience, your shared experience with your brothers and sisters. And thank you very much for coming in the break room.
Appreciate it.
All right. He is Larry Fisher. We are in Las Vegas in the break room with TWU Local 555 on the road. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can follow us on social media at TWU Local 555, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. For Larry Fisher, I'm Eric Peterson, and we are all 555.